ever wondered what exactly is morality? If you did, well, you're about to find out, so stay tuned.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Zaimah and I would like to explain to you about the concept of morality. A good conduct and religiously approved by the religion together with society. That is how the definition of morality according to the jurisprudence, where it becomes a great pair with the law. Morality is known as the perfect guidelines for the human being to act as they should be, which is to avoid any behaviors that can offend against public order. According to the psychiatrist Lawrence Kohlberg, he stated that moral principles play such an important role, which are considered as the guidelines for living successfully. Why should we be moral? Preston provided that we should be moral because we will expect others to treat us morally. The way you treat others is the way that others treat you. It is also a religious duty that if a person has religious faith, he or she then does have a foundation for a personal morality. As human beings too, we need friendship, happiness, freedom and peace. So in order to satisfy these needs, people must follow moral principles that encourage them to cooperate.
Hello, I am Fatina and I will present on the sources of morality. The concept of morality can refer to the division between proper or improper intentions, decisions, and actions. To put it in another way, the term morality can be used to express specific moral standards pushed by a society or an organization such as a religion. Alternatively, morality can also be defined as the belief that some behavior is right and appropriate while other behavior is wrong. So, let's get into this. What is the source of morality? There are three sources of morality, which are evolution, cultures, and religion. E. O. Wilson stated that one of the sources of morality was evolution. Many phenomena are explained by evolution, in which one of them is morality in humans. Morality holds that ethical systems, judgments, and norms are products of various forms of evolutionary selection.
Secondly, culture. In the culture of morality, social development, context, and conflict, written by Turiel, state that culture develop over time and vary by region. As a result, moral framework, standard of conduct, and convention may vary as a result of culture differences. For example, some culture consider it wrong to eat certain animal that other culture not only eat, but often take pride in eating. There are even emerging differences in whether it is even right to eat animal. And lastly, religion. William J. Wainwright claimed that norms that are designed to guide behavior are frequently present in religion tradition. Some of these rules could be seen as moral rules. For instance, several of the Ten Commandments appear to represent moral as well as religion rules.
Hello, Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. My name is Ahmad Amirul Fawaz and I shall discuss on the matter of cases that includes morality in their judgment in Malaysia. So we have two jurisdiction in Malaysia, which is civil and also criminal. We shall look into these two jurisdictions and how they include morality in their judgment. So as for the case, the civil case, we have Metro Mutu Karupan Citi against Ahsim, Choh Sun Fat Tong and others, where in this case, the court decided to not validate the contract that was made to invest in a brothel, because this contract is immoral and against the public order. As for the criminal case, we shall look into the judgment made in the case of Pendakwa Raya against Muhammad Nasli Muhammad Nasir. This is a recent case, just happened, where the defendant asked for a mitigation. However, the judge did not permit any mitigation because the offense made by the accused was against the public order, which is going out with a parang to go and hurt others, as it was done in public, which made a mitigation an immoral thing to do. and decided to give maximum sentence towards the accused.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Asfafi bin Zakri and my matrix number is A180732. So I will continue the presentation with the concept of law and morality. So basically, law and morality are two systems that govern the way humans behave. Law is a set of rules and principles that is created by the state to regulate human conduct. In simple words, the law is a bunch of rules and regulations which are made by our legislature and enforced by the executive so that the people should act according to the law. Morality, on the other hand, is the set of principles, beliefs, and behavior standards created and enforced by society. Morality can be different for every person. There can be situations where a particular act is moral for you and the same act is immoral for the other. So the main relationship between law and morality is, firstly, morality as the basis of law. Throughout the history, no clear distinction has been made between law and morality. By virtue of a lack of distinction, all laws found their origins from what was considered morally correct by the people in a society. Eventually, the state picked up what was morally correct and gave it in the form of laws or rules and regulation. Fuller, who is a naturalist, he believed that we can achieve social order with the help of law to regulate human behavior. And he also believed that our legal system is derived from the norms of justice and it also contains moral aspect. The next is morality as the test of law. The entire purpose of the existence of law is to ensure justice in society and do what is best for the welfare of all the people. Since the principle of justice is well under the ambit of morality, many jurists are of the opinion that there must not be any contradiction between law and morality. Any law which does not abide by moral standards should be removed, and whether a law is right or wrong can be evaluated based on whether it is in consonance with moral value.
Thanks, Wafi. Okay, first of all, I would like to introduce myself, which is my name is Nur Anit. Okay, on my part, I will talk about the difference between law and morality. Actually, law and morality may be interdependent to an extent and have certain similarities, such as the same goal, but there are certain factors based on which the two concepts can be differentiated. Okay, firstly, we can see that law is derived from an external source, which means that it is obtained through rules and regulation. But for the morality, it emerges from internal source. It is come from the individual mind of a person. Next, the difference is the creation of the law was influenced by the morality, but morality existed in society since even before the legal implications were discussed. The third difference is law lay down mandatory behavior that is expected out of the people who are governed under the said law. However, morality does not lay down strict guidelines on how one should behave, as it is more to the personal concept. Lastly, I would like to highlight there is a renewal jurist, which is John Austin, said on the relationship between law and morality that law has nothing to do with morality. He distinguished them as positive law and positive morality. I think that's all from me. I would like to pass the baton to my friends.
Thank you, Annie. I am Sophia. Now let's move on to the case of Dudley and Stephen. In this case, 4 people sat on the boat and go far away from the land. Now it was clear that all of them would die due to thirst and hunger. Then one of the defendants agreed to kill one person so that the others could eat his body and survive. He took this decision for the sake of others. According to that person, it was the only way for them to stay alive. But when they reached home, they were convicted guilty of murder of that guy. However, in that situation, morally, he was right because he took the decision so that he can save his and his friend's life, but according to the law, he was guilty of murder.
Hi, my name is Farha. Together with me are Siti Salina and Mildan. For the next part of the video, we are going to discuss on whether morality is a necessary ingredient of a valid law. To answer this question, there are two opposing views from two schools of thoughts, which is natural law theory and legal positivism. Sociology's school of thought also will be discussed later. First of all, I'm going to explain on the view from positivist school of thought. It is said that it is not necessary that law must satisfy certain requirements or demands of morality. Positivists also uphold the separability thesis, which means that the legal validity does not depend on the conformity of law to morality. John Austin, which is a legal philosopher, also said that a law is legally valid in a society if and only if it is commanded by the sovereign body of a particular state or country. The sovereign also had no duty to make laws which are morally good.
Next, I will continue the discussion with the view from the naturalist school of thought on the question of is morality a necessary ingredient of a valid law? So, the naturalist upholds the overlap thesis, which asserts that there is a necessary relation between the concept of law and morality. The concept of law cannot be fully articulated without some reference to moral notions. In short, this overlap thesis claims the inseparability of law and morality. The naturalists were also of the view that lawmaking is a purposive activity that must satisfy certain moral requirements in order for it to have laws as its outcome. Next, Saint Thomas Aquinas was of the view that natural law furnished principles rather than rules, and there is a relation between means and ends, between an operation and its result. Therefore, law consists of a means of achieving an end. Aquinas also holds that to go against the ends of natural law is morally wrong. Aquinas also formulated the theory lex injusta non est lex, which according to this theory, any law which offends the prescription of natural law is unjust and immoral, and as such is not a law. Blackstone also echoed Aquinas that an immoral law is no law at all. Other than that, John Locke also opines that the rules that the legislators make for other men's actions must, as well as their own and other men's action, be conformable to the will of God, and no human sanction can be good or valid against it.
Assalamualaikum and good evening. My name is William Firdaus and my metric number is A183417. I will continue this presentation by explaining the perspective of the sociology school of thought. Sociology of morality is a branch of sociology that deals with the sociological investigation of the nature, causes and consequences of people's ideas about morality. Sociologists of morality ask questions on why particular groups of people have the moral views that they do and what are the effects of these views on behavior, interaction, structure, change and institutions. Hans Kelsen in his book, Introduction to the Problem of Legal Theory, 1934, writes that the law is legitimate only if the ruler has the right to enact or issue it, and he has that right only if the citizens are persuaded to consent thereto, that is, only if the rules by persuasion and not by force. From sociological perspectives, the validity of laws that exist in a given society could be measured from four types of criteria. The first type is behavioral criteria. The laws of a society must be effective in order to assert their validity. It means that the set of rules must be effective in the minimal sense that the behavior of the members of the society conforms to the rules. The second criteria is psychological behavioral criteria. This theory states that valid laws are laws that are normative for the conduct of the members where it is used as guides to action. Thirdly, deontic criteria. This theory believes that valid laws are not merely those that are used as guides. They submit that what is crucial for a valid law is to be binding on its members. If law, which has no obligation to obey, is not, on this view, a valid law. And lastly, minimum content criteria. This notion believes that existing laws in a society must constitute the minimum content of a very basic sort in order to be valid. For example, there must be laws that prohibit the free use of violence in society.
Next, we move to the application of morality on society. This application can be considered in moral development, where it focuses more on moral ideas that alter as a person grows older and matures. Moral ideas are connected to, but not equal to, such as moral behavior that it is conceivable to know what is right but not to do it. It can divide into two categories where it involves the morality of justice and morality of care. Lawrence Colbert and his colleagues created one of the most well-known accounts of morality and justice arise. So we will look at the morality of justice first, which Colbert has proposed 6 stages of moral development. The first one is obedience and punishment, then market exchange, peer opinion, law and order, social contract, and universal ethical principle. The first level interprets about pre-conventional level, where it locates about obedience and punishment and market exchange. The youngster develop an ethics of compliance and punishment, or in other words, morality of staying out of trouble. Whether activities are rewarded or penalized by authorities such as parents or instructors determines their rightness or wrongness. This stage of ethic of market exchange consists of the ethically just action that benefits not only the kid, but also another person who is directly engaged. We move to the conventional level that consists of peer opinion with law and order, while post-conventional level directs social contract and universal principles. However, as logical as they sound, Colbert's stage of moral justice are not sufficient enough for understanding development of moral belief. So that is all for moral justice. Then we will move to the moral of care.
Conventional level consists of pure opinion with law and order, while post-conventional level directs social contract and universal principles. However, as logical as they sound, Colbert's stages of moral justice are not sufficient for understanding the development of moral beliefs. Carrie Gilligan created one such framework with her theories centered on a morality of care, or a set of beliefs about human obligations, care, and regard for others. Gilligan established 3 moral orientations that express varying degrees of ethical consent. First, a survival orientation is the most fundamental type of caring in which a person is mainly concerned with his or her own well-being. If a young girl in this ethical situation is considering having an abortion, she will be totally concerned with the consequences of the abortion on herself. Whatever causes the least stress for herself and interrupts her own life is the ethically correct decision. Others' responsibilities, such as the baby, the father, or her family, have little or no role in her thinking. Second, caring for others is a more complex moral viewpoint in which a person is concerned about the pleasure and well-being of others, as well as reconciling or integrating the demands of others where they clash. When considering abortion, for example, a teenager in this circumstance might consider what other people desire, and does the child's father, mother, and doctor want her to keep the child? What is ethically right becomes whatever would delight the most people. This job is more challenging ethically and intellectually than first orientation since it demands harmonizing the needs and values of several people. However, it is frequently ethically deficient since it overlooks one key person, it is the self. Last but not least, integrated caring, the synchronization of personal needs and ideals with those of others, is the most developed form of moral care in Gilligan's concept. Now, the ethically correct option considers everyone, including yourself, rather than everyone but yourself. A woman in this orientation would examine not just the ramifications for the father, the unborn child, and her family, but also the consequences for herself. What impact would having a kid have on her personal wants, values, and plans? This viewpoint leads to more comprehensive moral convictions, but they are also more prone to difficulties since the broadest possible spectrum of person is addressed.